tonight. The battle over healthcare workers heats up. This week, an East Coast health minister recruits in our province to retaliate after Saskatchewan sent recruiters to his province last week. Also, the Regina Rams make team history and welcome 4 brothers to the field. Plus, the province mourns George Reed, a man feared on the field and loved in the community.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Tuesday, October 3rd, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Good evening and thank you for joining us. A Saskatoon man who was hospitalized after getting bit by a police dog wants to know why the dog was sicked on him in the first place. The man admits he ran from police at first, but wasn't running away when the dog attacked him. As Dan Zakreski reports, finding the rules for police dogs isn't easy. And a warning, the story contains graphic images.
A violent arrest is raising questions about how police use their dogs. Now, Edward Sunius was hiding in this alley when police found him. The 23-year-old says he doesn't remember the chase or the crash that led him here, but he remembers the police dog.
They just let the dog attack me, and I just told them, I said, I'm not even resisting. I'm not resisting. I said, get your dog off me. Like, what are you doing? And then that's when I started seeing chunks of meat by my head, and like from the light of the flashlight, I could see like my arm being ripped.
Within 5 hours, police called in the province's serious incident response team to investigate. Police won't talk about what happened in this alley because the response team is involved, but police also won't release their written policy on how they use their dogs. Now, this doesn't sit well with a lawyer who handles police dog bite cases.
I don't see a clear reason why the policy in relation to the use of police dogs ought to be kept private. Being free and liberal in the provision of access to information about how this police force operates increases its legitimacy because it increases its accountability and the ability for the public to know what it's doing.
The Provincial Police Commission has a manual that sets training and certification standards for police dogs, but it does not set the rules for how police dogs are used in the field.
So it seems strange to set up a policy that is like, this is a Saskatchewan-wide policy for how police dogs should be dealt with and trained in Saskatchewan. And then it's like, but shucks darn, if you municipalities want to do something different that is more dangerous, that is different from this policy, we don't have a problem with that. Then my question is just like, well, what is the role of the police oversight body?
Edward Sunius will be in court next month, charged with evading police and dangerous driving. Dan Zakreski, CBC News, Saskatoon.
Newfoundland and Labrador's health minister is in Saskatchewan this week, but he's not here to meet with Saskatchewan's health minister. He's here to retaliate after our government sent health recruiters to his province last week. Saskatchewan's newly created healthcare recruitment agency is visiting 5 eastern Canadian provinces, including Newfoundland and Labrador, to meet with healthcare workers, students, and post-secondary institutions. So, in return, Newfoundland and Labrador Health Minister Tom Osborne decided to come to Saskatchewan on his own recruiting trip. Osborne asked Saskatchewan's health minister in early September not to send health recruiters east, and when that request was ignored, he says he had to respond.
Leaving it unchecked, I believe, leaves us vulnerable. It does send a signal to other provinces that our doors are open. You're welcome to come and recruit, and that's not the case. We're not looking to be on the ground in other provinces, and we really don't want other provinces on the ground in Newfoundland and Labrador. We're all facing healthcare shortages or health professional shortages, and I think that crosses a line where we have no choice but to go to Saskatchewan.
Premier Scott Moe says he clarified the team's intentions with Newfoundland and Labrador's Premier. Moe says the recruiters are not trying to poach workers from out east. Despite fanfare, federal funding, and even a visit from the Prime Minister, a rare earth elements processing plant in Saskatoon is being shut down.
We've demonstrated really that the Saskatoon facility doesn't make economic sense for us to operate, so we've decided to terminate that facility. We've placed the holding company, Vital Metals Canada Limited, into bankruptcy.
The plant was built to process rare earth minerals from mining project in the Northwest Territories. Earlier this year, Vital Metals Company said the price for the plant had grown from $20 million to nearly $60 million. The decision to close comes after the company was unable to sell an intermediate rare earth product. Vital says the closure of the plant does not affect operations at its mine in the Northwest Territories. One of hockey's fiercest rivalries will play out in Saskatchewan this February. Regina and Saskatoon will each host one game in a 7-game series between Canada's national women's hockey team and their American counterparts. Canada's looking to defend its title after a thrilling win in the rivalry series last year. Mayor Sandra Masters was part of the announcement in Regina this morning. She says events like this are important for representation and for hockey development in the province.
It's good for youth development, and so when you can have the Canadian women's national hockey team show up to play, and to play the United States on top of it, it's something that I hope young people look at and maybe dream of something bigger for themselves.
The game in Saskatoon is February 7th at Sask Centre. Regina's is at the Brand Centre February 9th. Tickets for Regina go on sale Friday morning at 10. No word yet on Saskatoon ticket sales. The other 5 games in the series will be held in Ontario and the United States. The Regina Rams are making history this season. For the first time, the team has 4 brothers on its roster. And as Shlok Talati reports, love of football runs deep in the Sombak family.
Here comes the house from the Rams on second down. Amadou takes a big shot, throws an interception. It's caught by Sombak.
That's Jackson Sombak with his second career interception. At 23, he's the oldest of 4 brothers on the University of Regina Rams football team. There's also Carson, age 21, and then the twins, Connor and Ryler, 20 years old. They all play defense.
We all live at home. We all end up in the locker room together. We all study together. Like, we all come here in the same car, leave in the same car, so we're pretty much attached to the hip for 24 hours a day.
Is that like a lot of sitting time together?
It is a lot, yeah. I love them, but it's a lot of time, yeah.
The 2 youngest Sombaks say they were spurred on by having older brothers to look up to, and getting to play together was probably meant to be.
We have a competitive relationship at home, so you'll see that they're having success in football and all that stuff. It's like, damn, I want to do better. I want to be better than them.
It's a pretty cool experience, actually. It's not normal that you get to play with all your brothers at the same time, so it's pretty sweet. Ever since we were young, we just kind of planned on going to the Rams our whole life, and here we are now.
Football is a long-standing family tradition. Their grandpa, Raymond Sombak, played football in the 1950s. Their dad, Steve Sombak, was a Rams offensive lineman when the team was winning Canadian junior championships in the 1990s. He then went on to coach high school football and his sons.
And he had us starting early, like he had footballs in our hands when we were 2 years old. We were playing catch in the front yard when we were 4. All of our Christmas presents were football stuff. We'd get football gear and we'd play snowball in the front yard or backyard. Like, we were always tackling each other in the basement playing football. So we were pretty bred to play football since we were young. And we kind of carried forward and we got a love for it. So it just kind of worked out.
All 4 brothers have hit the field at the same time only twice, and that's during preseason games. They're hoping to get that chance in the regular season.
It's kind of nice to build the chemistry, and it's good to have your best friends beside you at all times.
But already, they've gone from roughhousing at home to chasing dreams of a championship together. Shlok Talati, CBC News, Regina.
How quickly the weather changed. As the calendar flipped over the weekend from September to October, so too did the weather from summer to fall. Pretty gloomy day in Regina today, but the fall colors on those trees do really pop with the clouds. But is this our new normal? Ethan will have your forecast after the break. Stay with us. The air we breathe was filled with smoke this summer, thanks of course to Canada's record-breaking forest fire season. And while us humans can take precautions to avoid the smoke, it's trickier for other things that live and breathe to get away from it. As Ethan Williams tells us, that could have consequences.
Forest fire smoke has reduced air quality and visibility in much of Canada and even the U.S. this year. Experts say to avoid health issues, people can stay inside or wear a mask. But that's not an option for wildlife. One wildlife health expert says animals can experience smoke-related health problems just like us. Could be trouble breathing or fatigue, especially animals that are in the thick of it.
Birds have more efficient respiratory systems, so they can more easily absorb the toxins in the smoke and have a harder time clearing the particulates.
Stasiak says the smoke can impact animals' behavior too, because it can reduce their vision and sense of smell.
So things like being able to find forage, to be able to find mates depending on the time of year, reproduction, those types of activities might be affected.
Trees, crops, and other plants can also be affected by smoke. There are tiny pores on a plant's surface called stomata. They let water escape in order to let carbon dioxide in. When smoke dries out the atmosphere, the plant thinks it's in a drought. So to hold on to water, it closes its stomata, and that slows its growth.
Even a simple 30-minute exposure to smoke can reduce photosynthesis by almost 50%. And when we have longer durations of smoke and thicker smoke density, the photosynthesis can be affected much more.
Chemicals in smoke can also damage plants by entering its stomata and burning tissue. And smoke obscures sunlight, which plants need to grow. But oddly enough, the smoke can actually be beneficial for some plants. It can trigger plant seeds in fire-prone areas to start budding. And studies have shown smoke can help ripen fruit, like bananas. There's still lots more to study when it comes to smoke's effects on plants and animals, but it's clear that it's more than just people who feel its effects. Ethan Williams, CBC News, Regina.
This weather update is brought to you by Capital GMC Buick Cadillac. Truck Mania is on now.
Our weather specialist and somewhat smoke expert, Ethan Williams, joins me now. The smoke set records in our province this year, along with those fires themselves.
Yeah, that's right. And the Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency are now providing us some data that we've actually broken a record when it comes to the number of hectares burned by fires in the province. 1.9 million so far in 2023, breaking the old record of 1.7 million in 2015. And all of this happening, we should note, when we actually haven't broken the record for the number of fires themselves this year. Close to 500 this year, but the yearly record is just over 700 set in 2015 as well. And we still do have 25 active fires in the province, thankfully none of them out of control, but the smoke from them has had a pretty long journey. In fact, today it's showing up over portions of Florida and the southern United States. And last week, some smoke from fires here and the rest of Canada, wafting as far eastward as Greenland too. So definitely being blown around quite a bit. We go from the smoke to snow. This is hail from a severe thunderstorm that struck near the Broadview and Grenfell areas on Saturday. A rare October severe thunderstorm. Some hail in this area up to the size of toonies to ping pong size. Very rare that we get that this time of year. And another system, separate system, bringing through some storms today in Manitoba. And that is bringing rain through southeastern Saskatchewan, some heavy at times, clearing through the night. But as we go into tomorrow, a secondary low-pressure area from the northwestern the Northwest Territories, going to be bringing through another batch of rain for us through the day tomorrow. And as the secondary round from that moves through overnight, we could see in Wednesday into Thursday, we could even see a little bit of mixed precipitation or wet snow in northern Saskatchewan. As that moves southward, this model likes to suggest that we may even see a little bit of mixed precipitation a bit further southward Thursday into Friday. Depends how cold we get. And this area of high pressure, though, begins to clear things out as we head into Friday and warm things up, too. So not a whole lot of snow expected, and it'll likely be gone by the time we hit the weekend. But a good 5 to 10 millimeters tomorrow in an area from Buffalo Narrows down through Hudson Bay. Add another 5 to 10 as we head through the day on Friday. Southwest of there, not looking for too much rain, but it will be windy in that southwest corner of the province. These gusts likely undershot a bit, could be upwards of 70 to 80 kilometers an hour tomorrow afternoon. Still gusty through the night Thursday and into Friday as well. Those winds coming from the northwest, bringing down some of that cooler air, as you will see here in our extended forecast. Single digits for Regina Thursday, Friday, and again quite windy as we head through tomorrow and Thursday too. But look at that. Temperatures suddenly rebounding as we head into the weekend and the sunshine returns. And Saskatoon, pretty similar story here. Maybe 2 to 4 millimeters at most, 6 degrees with the chance of showers on Thursday. And then these 20-degree temperatures, Sam, almost making us forget that snow might be in the forecast.
I apologize for the loud no. I really did think you were showing us
I think
snow.
Everyone in the building heard that. You bet.
Hello. My.
More than $15 million worth of movie, TV, and music memorabilia is going up for auction in London next month. This year's annual prop store auction features more than 1,800 items from nearly 600 movies and TV shows. Some highlights include several pieces from the Star Wars franchise from the collection of Anthony Daniel, who played C-3PO in 11 Star Wars films. There's also wardrobe pieces from The Godfather, Titanic, and the James Bond franchise. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back. Our province is mourning the legendary George Reed. The Saskatchewan Roughriders running back died on Sunday, just one day before his 84th birthday. Reed brought the Riders their first championship in 1966 and broke every pro football rushing record in existence. But it was his off-the-field contributions with Special Olympics and other charitable organizations that made him so beloved.
His tenacity and but then his goodwill. You know, he did lots of good things on the field, but probably almost as many off the field. So he was an all-around great guy.
It was just an honor to be in his presence, and that's just how I personally felt, and I know our staff felt with every interaction. It was just an honor to be around him. It was an honor to have him be part of the organization and continue to come to the games and want to be associated with our football team.
Reed's accomplishments are all the more remarkable when you consider the social context. 2 years ago, he shared with CBC's Jason Warwick the realities of being a black man in 1960s Saskatchewan. In honor of his death, here again is George Reed on sports, race, and leaving a legacy.
Reed again gets the call. He may be gone. Touchdown.
This is the George Reed most of us know. Sprinting to the end zone, scoring touchdown after touchdown, helping the Saskatchewan Roughriders capture their first ever Grey Cup in 1966.
George Reed, he drives out beyond. He broke the tackle of at least two attempted tacklers before Gaines eventually pinned him, but that moves the yardsticks. Another demonstration of Reed's great power.
He's one of the greatest football players the world has ever seen. But Reed says there's a lot more to his story.
It was quite a different experience, and one that I look back on and I kind of shake my head.
When he arrived in Regina in 1963, not all players were treated equally in the CFL. An unofficial quota system kept black participation low. So black players accepted lower pay. Reed and others fought through dislocated joints, severed tendons, and broken bones to keep their spots on the team.
Most of your Western teams, all your Western teams, they didn't have any more than 4 blacks on per team and everything else, and it wasn't very noticeable to me at first, and then all of a sudden it became real noticeable.
That racism extended beyond the field as well. Some black CFL players would get death threats. Others would get calls in the middle of the night from teammates pretending to be the Ku Klux Klan. Some teams even banned black players from bringing white women to team events.
George Reed was forced to live in a hotel for his first 2 seasons because no Regina landlord would rent to a black man.
I tried to find apartments and so forth to stay in, and of course they were all vacant until they saw my face, and then all of a sudden it had automatically been they had been rented. So
Reed eventually found a place to live, but only because he was now a famous football star. He says people who had avoided him in restaurants now asked for autographs. And he was also told an exception could be made for him to play golf at this exclusive country club, which at the time had a ban on black and Jewish members.
We, the black people, have acquired a sharper consciousness of the system of power that have oppressed us.
Around this time, the news was filled with the struggles of the American Civil Rights Movement. Reid, who was born in Mississippi, was asked by a reporter if there was any racism in Canada. He decided to speak out. He said, "Sure, people give you the glad hand and pretend your color doesn't make any difference because you're a football hero. The hell it doesn't. Everybody closes their eyes in Canada, and then they don't understand how we can talk about racial discrimination in this country." Some teammates and friends were supportive, but he faced tremendous backlash.
I was kind of disappointed because I think that people thought that I was just running off at the mouth and none of this stuff happened and so forth and everything else. So that was a disappointing part about it.
Reid would star for the Roughriders for another 8 years, taking the team to 3 more Grey Cup games. When he retired in 1975, he had rewritten the pro football record books. 137 touchdowns, 16,116 rushing yards, and 11 All-Star teams. Along the way, he served as president of the Players Union, helping to crush the black quota system and ensure fair treatment for all players.
He volunteered for dozens of charities, even helping to found the Saskatchewan chapter of the Special Olympics. Coaching, cheering, presenting medals, speaking at fundraising dinners, and raising tens of thousands of dollars, whatever was needed.
I think that the things that I did and the things that I became involved with and so forth showed that no matter what the color was, if you need to do something to get something accomplished and so forth, you could do it.
Reid is now an officer of the Order of Canada. He's got his own statue outside Mosaic Stadium, and a street is named after him.
I think the contribution that I've been able to make to the province of Saskatchewan and to the people and so forth, that's probably more rewarding to me than what my football career was.
Reid is now 81 years old and has chosen to stay in Regina. He says he feels blessed, but the struggle for equality is far from over. Reid says he's proud of the black youth now taking action against injustice and racism, just as he did 50 years ago.
I think that progress is being made, and I think that we still have the way to go and everything else, but strides are being made.
It is Reid. Gene Gaines tried to body check him, but not before George Reid had accomplished the first down at the 20 with a 3-yard advance.
Fred watched Reid jump over. Still trying to pick up that yardage.
Jason Warwick, CBC News, Regina.
I'm sorry, Ethan, you have to follow that legend.
It's true. We're going to miss you, George, and thanks for all you've done here in the province. And we'll take one last look at our weather now. It is going to, we'll see the clouds clear tonight in the province, or at least in the Regina area. There's a bit of fog possible overnight tonight, though, as we still have a bit of that moisture in the air. Clouds will clear, but then things will build back in tomorrow morning. Cloudy skies, winds fairly light, but then they'll pick up just a little bit as we head toward the afternoon. That is likely when we are going to see those showers start to build in to the Regina area. For Saskatoon, again, those clear skies, you're seeing a bit of that right now. But again, by the morning hours tomorrow, that moisture hitting you a little earlier than Regina and the south. By the afternoon, again, those winds likely going to be picking up here and there. Rain showers continuing, and that likely going to be a theme the next couple of days, Sam.
All right. Thanks, Ethan.
You bet.
And that is it for us tonight. For News Anytime, you can always head to our website, our YouTube channel, or download the CBC News app. Ethan and I will be back with more tonight at 11. Thanks for watching, and have a great night.